Obviously, last show we were talking about apprentices.
Yep.
Obviously, Nick gave us his story of sort of how he got into the industry, which wasn't a good one. Yours was from the other perspective where it was a bit better. So we'll get yours. Obviously, I know your handler, as he's probably known over here, he's going to be looking at you going, you don't say anything about me. But it'd be good just like me and Pete, the one thing that we really want to try and promote on here is stuff like apprentices, people where, you know, we can help people, like the November thing with the tool and the van theft and stuff like that. So we just want to get your side of things of being an apprentice, what it's like, how you got into it, the types of things that you do, because I'm sure there's loads of other people watching, listening that want to do what you're doing but don't know where to start or are getting mistreated, just like Nick was. Yeah. So, you know.
But also, you might, as an apprentice, you might feel like you are on the bottom rung of the ladder, but really you're a lot more important than that, because you are the future and you are going to become, you know, what Nick is now. And like I've said in previous podcasts, you are going to learn from Nick, and probably if you're working with other electricians or you're watching YouTube channels, you're going to learn from them as well. So theoretically, if my theory is correct, you should become better than Nick, because you're going to absorb.
It's not hard, is it?
No offense to Nick, but if you want to absorb all that information, all that skill, you should be an amalgamation of all those people and become the best electrician you can be. So,
I mean, what made you want to become a Sparky? Because me, I was always sort of pushed by my parents. You've got to go and get like an office job or wherever it is. You know, the general sort of shite. Where did that for you sort of come into your mindset? Was it at school? Was it like something you wanted to do? Was it just family, friends? What?
Yeah, the majority, main thing really is the family, friends aspects of it. However, believe it or not, working with Nick's brother in an office environment was a lot more, it made me realise I'm a lot better hands-on jobs. So from that, I instantly realised, I'll try the other brother, I'll try Nick, see what the hands-on experience is like. So I tried that, and that was good. So really, I kind of did it myself, just figuring out what's best for me, bit of trial and error. Not much trial and error, but I found it straight away and just took it.
Because there's so many people that I see, even at 28, that still don't know what they want to do, and they're going, is it too late to become an electrician?
I get asked that all the time.
Yeah. I think
it's never too late.
Didn't you have a question on TikTok or something the other week?
Constantly. Yeah. It's never too late to learn, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, how old were you when you got into
16?
16.
Yeah, straight left school.
What about you, Adam? How old were you? 16 as well?
Yeah, 16, straight from school.
What about you?
Well, I did A-levels, then I took a year out.
Oh, you were lifeguarding, concrete.
Yeah, I took a year out. I had all kinds of jobs, but I took a year out, and I was going to go to university I wanted to do product design, because I was quite into design technology. But as soon as I started earning money, I didn't want to go back. And the thing with when I did my A-levels, GCSEs was fine because you had to do them, but your A-levels, they didn't kind of force you to do the revision. It was more put on you as your own person to, if you want to do well, then you put the work in. And I didn't like doing the revision, so I just didn't want to go back to doing it. So that's what happened. So you left school at 16?
Yeah.
Did you get on all right at school?
Yeah. Not like I'm not the most academic, as you'd say.
Yeah.
But passed most things. The only thing I didn't pass was English, but I'm redoing that. So yeah.
So when I was at plumbing college, we had to do something they called key skills back in the day. Do you have to do that as well? So you got to have a basic maths and English.
Yeah, that's it. So to pass the qualification of the apprenticeship, I have to have a level 4, because they've changed the numbers from like A, B, C to numbers now, haven't they?
Yeah.
So I have to have a level 4 in maths and English, which I have in maths. I just don't have it in English.
Is that like the equivalent to like a C? Is it?
Yeah, that's it.
But you do that as part of your apprenticeship at college.
Yeah,
they teach you it and they help you through it.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of guys, they'll message me and they're worried about that side of it. Do I need, maths and English GCSEs? And I do say, it's a long time since I've been in college. I know I look young, but I'm not.
I mean, when you were there, because it's been a long time for me as well, this is a question I wanted to ask you. Did they ever at school give you the options of trades? Because that's one thing that when I was at school, it was never an option.
Yeah, no, it wasn't for me.
No, it was never an option. So obviously you've more recently left school than what me and you have.
Which is crazy, because we all know, being in the trade, once you learn the skill, it's a job for life.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. Unless you're terrible at it.
Well, I went to school still when you could leave school at 16 and you could go off into the real world and do whatever you wanted to. Now you have to either go into a trade, into sort of college, or you stay on at school.
Yeah, well, it's weird, that scenario, because I had one friend actually from school who went straight into like.
You didn't have any friends.
All right, I knew him. He was an acquaintance, but
He looked at me once.
But he literally wasn't. He was probably one of the not so clever people in the year, so not academic. But he actually left, and then probably 5 years later, I didn't see him for a while, and he popped up, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" He was running his own building firm.
Yeah.
So he was miles ahead of like people that had gone to college, gone to uni, come out with loads of debt, and he was doing great by 25.
I always found that. I obviously went from school straight into work, and friends that went to university, and I go to the pub. Always had money in my pocket, whereas the boys at uni, student loans and whatnot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of money. Yeah, I personally found it was just the easier sort of direction for me to go.
So why do you think then that like that's not really pushed into you at schools? Why is it such a faux pas to say, well, actually go into the trades when there's a shortage of people in the industry to do these jobs? Why is it so like?
Yeah, it seems crazy to me. And then you find like later on in life, they'll read an article in the Daily Mail that will say electricians on 120 grand a year. Then they'll all want to become, training to become electricians, but it's not like that. But if you are prepared to work hard and you can do it from 16, then you can be at the level that, you've surpassed them while they're still at university,
I mean, in terms of, obviously, how old are you?
18 now, yeah.
18. So you've got, I think it was 2 years? 2 years left to go.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say that puts people off because they think, oh, well, it's 4 years to qualify? I mean, you were talking about, what's the 6?
Yeah, possibly. I think that is the whole 4 year thing, and people are just sort of, really? 4 years? But it's 1 day a week.
Yeah.
It was for me anyway.
Yeah.
Day release, being at work in between. But I think at the moment, it's sort of changed a bit now. Whereas when I was at college, or if you went to college and you didn't have a placement, like a job, they would actively try and find you a job. Whereas now, there's a huge shortage for that now. I don't think they do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I get constant messages from, look, do you know anyone's got jobs? Where can I find a job? What's the best place or best way for me to be able to find a job? And yeah, it's I don't know why they're sort of neglecting apprentices at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's
definitely being neglected.
That's tough, because I mean, like, was there anybody else that that's gone into a trade that you actually know that's the same age as you, that you knew from school, or through friends of friends? Is there anybody else that's gone into a trade? Because I'd love to know what your experience of it is, and if you've got somebody else that whether or not that's the same experience or it's completely different for them.
Yeah, so I've got a close friend who's gone into electrics as well.
Yeah.
I don't really speak to him as much now because of the distance, 'cause I moved away. But so he took a different route. He took it like a full-time college route, not apprenticeship. So his way of it is he doesn't have as much time on site because
that's going to hinder him when he comes.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I think definitely the way that you've done what you're doing, where you're learning off somebody that's on the job every day, doing the types of tasks that you're going to be doing when you leave.
Yeah.
Well, because theoretically, you could come out of college and be qualified and have no sort of on-site experience at all.
Because that's another thing.
Which is a strange one.
Why do they allow you to go to college and then come out and you've got absolutely zero experience in the real world? Because nobody's ever going to hire you that way, are they?
Well, it's like, so plumbing, you could go to night school, do a plumbing course, and then the first time you go into a property on your own, where's a stop tap? In the book, it's on the page, but if you don't know where they are normally found in a property, and if it's not under kitchen sink, you think, bloody hell, where is it? Could be a number of places, but that's the kind of thing you learn by actually doing the job. The scary thing for me in the gas industry is you can go and do a gas course, you can become qualified, so safe to work with gas, and you've never done it really enough to be confident of what you're doing. So even though you're qualified, you might go to your first job and think, right, okay, I'm a bit nervous now. And if someone's paying you to be in their home as the expert who's safe to work with gas, I don't think that's right.
How do you improve that then?
Well, it's experience. You got to be prepared to get the experience. It's tricky because I think a lot of people don't take on apprentices because of the fact that when the apprentice gets qualified, they're like, all right, okay, I'm qualified now. I can go and do it for myself, earn my own money. So
That's the same in it. Like even for me, is if I don't know, I trained somebody in here, they could go and do their own.
I've had it done to me many a time. Yeah.
yeah, that's you know, a lot of people have had it done, and that's why it's getting rarer and rarer for people to take on apprentices. So, you know, someone asked me on I think it was the last time I did a YouTube live video, he said, I've just finished, just qualified. What do you think I should do about going self-employed? I said, well, don't you think you owe your boss, who's just put you through college for 4 years, taught you everything he knows, don't you think you owe him a few years now? Because those first 4, well, maybe not the first 4 years, but at least the first 2 years, have you really earned him any money, or have you cost him money? Because he's been putting a lot of time into, you know, slowing the jobs down to explain to you how things are.
You don't think of those things though when you're younger.
No, you don't, and it's, you know,
No, you're chasing the money. That's
Yeah.
that's what you're after at the end of the day. Yeah.
But you can, like I said to this guy, you can go on your own, but carry on working for your boss, pay him back what I think you owe him in time to earn him some money, and then you've got that time to save up, so you might have money to buy your first van outright, build a customer base, because you probably do jobs at the weekend, and obviously keep gaining experience. So...
Yeah. I mean, what advice would you give to anybody that's listening now? Because, you know, it's all well and good us giving advice because we're old fuddy-duddies. But if you were going to give somebody advice that's younger than you, that's 16, or to your younger 16-year-old self, what would you say to them to actually get them into a trade?
You know about like the process straight from jumping from school, or someone who's interested, they've already picked their industry and...
There's going to be loads of people that are listening to this and thinking, I wouldn't mind being a sparky, or I wouldn't mind being a plumber.
Yeah.
But A, they don't really know how to go about it. B, maybe they're sitting there thinking, 4 years, or they're thinking, I don't know where to start with it. I mean, how would you sort of A, sell it to somebody, but B, sort of say, this is how you do it?
Yeah, so the main aspects of it, I'd say, are definitely reach out to companies in your local area for even just work experience. Obviously, not expecting pay, just like I did for the year. For a year, worked for free to Nick.
Yeah.
I
think that's another stumbling block for people, is they don't potentially, when you're young as well, you don't want to work for free, do you?
Yeah, they don't see the value of
experience
over money, like actual real money in their hand. You've gained the basic skills of that year I worked with Nick. I gained the skills of just say the first few weeks learning tools, and even the main thing I was going to say is speaking to customers and stuff like that. You leave like the right impression on customers and how to deal with them. If they say you're putting a socket over there and they want some extra, you know how to deal with that. Saying, obviously we can do it. Obviously, if we've got the time. However, there is going to be additional charges and stuff like that. Like,
You've trained him well, Nick.
Yeah.
You should be proud, mate. Well, this might cost you another £455.
Yeah.
I agree that it's always good to be upfront and honest with them, so that you're not, springing it on them. Oh, this is what I was going to charge you for this job, but all this shit happened and now it's double.
Yeah.
Tell them as you go along, explain to them at the start of the job, this is what I'm going to do, but it's an old system, or we won't start taking floorboards up, we might find this, and just prepare them so they're not shocked when things go wrong.
What's the worst thing about the job, and that's not working with Mr. Bundy over there? What's the worst thing for you where you think, oh God, because there's got to be something. It's got to be something where you think, oh, I wish I could change this, or you can't say customers because that's his.
Don't look at him. He can't get to you, mate.
He's doing sign language too.
I'm just trying to think of a good one. It's hard to think on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're all right getting up early to get to
that's not a problem.
Okay, with that. What about if the job runs over and what time do you normally finish on a good day?
2.
One, he's a sparky.
Honestly, every day it changes.
In the pub by 11.
If it's getting to 5-6 o'clock at night, you're hungry.
Yeah.
The job's gone bad. Is that
it swings and roundabouts, though, isn't it? You learn that pretty quickly, I think.
In the trade, you'll probably find it as well. Some days you finish super early and some days you finish later on.
Yeah.
But then some days you think, you're going to have an early finish, and then it turns into a long finish because something's gone wrong or something doesn't work right. Yeah.
Nick's fucked it.
Yeah.
Spent 5 hours setting his camera up before you even started the job.
No, but honestly, worst thing about it, I'd probably say, I've said this like I'm going to say something now, still thinking about it.
Well, you don't have to just pluck something out, because it could be that you know, getting up in the morning like you said, or it could be, I don't know, dealing with customers. It could
Well,
be
like for me, I absolutely cannot stand and I hate working on shower cubicles. Anything to do with a shower cubicle, shower screen, bath panels.
Is that because of what you find in the shower?
I hate it. There must be something.
Yeah, I'd probably say shower pull cords and stuff like that. I always go to Nick and like
the hard work.
Sometimes Nick knows it as well. I like time it right. I like tidy everything up and do everything I can and do loads of little extra things. Like,
just to not do it.
He'll come to the time and I'm like, oh, you're going to do that shower pull cord now? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll go and do it now. And I've got everything ready for him in the room.
So what is it about a shower pull cord? What?
It's just half the time they're in like the old houses, they are, what do you call them? The boxes are on the surface. They're not. Yeah. So
it's the size of the cable as well, isn't it? You've got a huge sort of diameter cable trying to squeeze it into that.
And
that
the fear
box.
of cracking the box, and it's the last one in the van.
Especially that and them hard plastic boxes.
Yeah.
Horrible things. Yeah.
It's the worst feeling.
What's your one?
Probably not
Shower pull cords,
no, I would say more sort of aspects of work, like something like social housing. That would be my sort of thing. Maybe not something specific within the electrical, but I would say more something like social housing.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that in my early days, and that was really
Difficult.
tough. Yeah, really tough.
Is that-
Occupied
is that-
rewires and it was. You see some sites, especially where I'm from in sort of North London, like Tottenham area, and it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
We did a
it
job.
wasn't pleasant.
We did a job back when I was younger, and it was on a site that Leicestershire County Council had designated for travellers. So they had a static caravan, and then it was like a washroom and a toilet.
Yeah.
So we used to go and do the repairs on it. And one day we'd been sent to do, it was just replace the sink unit, which was cut into a worktop. So we're taking it out, and then the guy comes home and he's like, you boys changing the worktop as well? We said, no, they've just told us to change the sink. He's like, well, I want a new worktop. Well, we can't because we get given the job. Anyway, he just grabbed it, ripped it off the units, and just snapped it in half over his knee. And he's like, you're fucking changing it now. You know, what can you do? But it's not, I mean, I was young, so it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And then just things like they're coming up to your van every time you wanted to get some kit out of your van.
Synced up? Yes, coming right up, sir.
All the kids around you, like trying to get in your van and get the copper and stuff. It's sometimes the environment, like you said, the environment's not. It's not.
It's
a
more
nice
awkward
place
than
to
anything.
work.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
crazy, that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've had many experiences like that really. We've had the normal occasional, or the house isn't so clean, or but nothing like that. You don't judge customers.
Because you're from a posh part of Birmingham, aren't you? That's why.
Staffordshire.
Yeah.
Anything with the Shire on the end.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's great getting your perspective on things, because sort of for me, obviously, we've got, the master and then the apprentice, so it's always good to get those perspectives. I mean, was your sort of way into the trades a similar sort of route?
Yeah, mine was, my dad was an electrician, so it was sort of an easy sort of way in. So straight from school, 16.
Yeah. Is that why you sort of
I think so, yeah. Obviously doing a bit of work experience before that.
Because you're similar with that, aren't you, with your dad being a plumber?
It was just an easier way in for me.
I mean, did you work with your dad?
Yes. Yeah. He was at a company. He had a sort of more managerial role by that time, but yeah, it was for the same company he was at.
I mean, were you similar to Adam at school? So, like, academic wise,
Yeah, obviously had to do key skills, English, maths. You have to do that if you don't get above a C, which I didn't. So yeah, you do that for the first, I think it's a couple of years. I think. Make sure you get them, and 4 years, 1 day a week, day release on a Tuesday. Yeah, so it was a long haul, but it's worth it in the end.